right, so we finally finished Black Ops 3. There was so much that I wanted to say about this campaign. Now, if you remember, I don't know, I would say maybe close to a year ago, we made a video talking about Black Ops 3 and how much I hated it. Like, I make an effort to love and enjoy every single Call of Duty campaign that releases. Because, like I've said a million times, I do not want them to be bad. I do not want them to fail. I want them to be good. And sometimes, very rarely, Call of Duty releases a game that I absolutely cannot get behind. I cannot play. And even the games that maybe a lot of you guys personally don't like, or a lot of the campaigns that you guys think are bad, I've actually found some enjoyment in them. Some of those could be Call of Duty World War II from 2017, or Call of Duty Vanguard, or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, or even Call of Duty Ghost. Some of these campaigns that people don't necessarily like too much or weren't the most popular, even Infinite Warfare. I have found these campaigns to be awesome, to be unique, to be interesting, and to really show me something that maybe I hadn't seen before and just have fun. When it came to Call of Duty Black Ops, as you guys know, I was always a fan of its multiplayer. I was always a fan of the series in general, but I never really got behind the campaigns all too much. Now, that's not me saying that Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 weren't amazing, because of course they were in terms of the campaign, but I always felt that it was the one that I liked the least amount when it came to COD campaigns. And it might have just been because of all the mind-bending, crazy-ass stuff that would always go on in these stories. But Black Ops 3 really pushed it to a different level, I think, at the time. And to be fully transparent, I started this playthrough a long time ago, months and months ago. But I got like 3 missions in and I just couldn't continue. And I just put it to rest to do some other stuff. I came back to it recently because of Black Ops 7's reveal and how it's going to be taking place in the near future in 2035. I remember that this game takes place somewhere in the 2060s, and I thought, well, let me go play this to get a better understanding of maybe what happens in Black Ops 7 and maybe how the two can potentially connect or not connect. I don't know. I wanted to just go back and enjoy a futuristic Call of Duty, and I know that I had Black Ops 3 and I know that I needed to tell the story. And I just hadn't gone back to it for one reason or another. I was avoiding it. But I came back, I played it, and it took me, I would say, maybe 5, 6, 7, I think it took me about 5 days or 6 days to complete the final few missions that I had left, which was about 5 or 6 missions. There's just things that I didn't like about it. I'm not gonna say that I hated it or anything. And the campaign can be a little bit confusing, but that's not news to you guys. You guys would probably already know that. However, when you reach the final mission of the campaign in Black Ops 3, it kind of explains everything in a way where I was like, okay, I understand. I understand what this is. I got it. It's actually not that confusing. It's actually not that complicated. It's actually pretty surface level when you reach the end, because yeah, in the between, throughout the campaign, I was like, what the hell is going on? They used all these crazy flashy techniques and cinematics and voices talking. They used a lot of different things to like kind of create this mind-bending illusions, and they did confuse me. They did drive me nuts, right? But when we reached the end, it kind of explained everything neatly until the very last scene where we say, or the character says, my name's Taylor. And then that prompted me obviously to look into the comics that you guys had mentioned to me, look into John Taylor's journal. You know, at the beginning of every mission, you see that there's a bunch of writing at the bottom, and I was like, that shit right there is telling me some very important information. I have to get that somehow and read that. And it explains so much more to you. The story of Black Ops 3 is so much deeper than the campaign. It's almost like Treyarch said, hey, you know what? We need to make these people work for the story. We're not going to explain it to them. We're going to give them the base, and then it's their job to figure out the rest of the story. So they're going to have to dig, they're going to have to read, they're going to have to find all these little different things so they can really understand and appreciate the story. And I don't know that that was the right way to go. I think you could have explained the story, all of it, within the campaign if you added a few extra things. Maybe added 1 or 2 more missions explaining exactly the reality and what was false, or giving some more time at the end to sit with what happened and get a little bit more of an explanation. I think you could have explained everything and tied it up neatly, but for some reason that couldn't happen. For some reason they didn't do that. I think everything could have fit in this campaign, and if it would have just been told in a different way. I think they tried to be too different, too unique, too mind-bending, that it kind of fell flat for a lot of people. And even if you say, well, you have to go deeper and this is a campaign that I like because it actually made me work to find out what happened, that's all fine. Because if I look at the lore or look at the comic books and try to read the journal, I understood the story 1,000% better. And the story is actually very, very interesting. And the character of John Taylor is an exceptional character. I truly believe that he is. But you have to find it. You have to go looking for it. And that is crazy to me, because I know that a lot of people wouldn't want to do that. Even today, they wouldn't want to do that because it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of digging. And people, when they buy a campaign, they want the campaign to be told in its entirety in what they bought. And if anything else comes out that is in addition to it, then great. But those should be minor things that expand on the world, not big plot points that you would never know about if you don't go beyond the campaign to find and then make the connections when you do play the campaign. So in reality, what you have to do is read the prequel comics of Black Ops 3 in its entirety, learn who these characters are, and then you have to find John Taylor's full journal, read that in its entirety, and then you play Black Ops 3, the campaign, and you'll kind of understand now what's really going on, who these characters really are, what their purpose truly is. So that's what I'm getting at. It's a lot of finding these things. So when I say I hated the Black Ops 3 campaign, or it was the worst campaign that I've ever played, or all these crazy statements that I have made in the past, it doesn't necessarily have to do with the story itself. It doesn't even have to do necessarily with the missions itself. I mean, if I compare this to Black Ops 6, I'm at least happy that in Black Ops 6, it seemed to be a little bit more linear. It seemed to be a little bit more straightforward. It kind of told me everything I needed to know, even though I didn't like the execution of many of the missions. Black Ops 3 danced around the issue so much and confused me more on purpose, okay? Now, I also just shitted on Black Ops 6 and its use of zombies in the campaign. Well, Black Ops 3 has a use of zombies as well and fake worlds like Black Ops 6 has. But the difference in Black Ops 3 was that the zombie missions were very direct. They were just in one singular room and it played out like a linear story. That was fine to me. That wasn't that bad because it only lasted like 10 or 8 minutes, 7 minutes. It wasn't really long at all. It was still a little bit crazy to me. I don't know, kind of pointless still to me, to be quite honest. I don't think we needed that, but it was bearable. The problem with Black Ops 6 is that it made me play for almost 2 hours finding puzzles while these zombies are getting me from all different angles. It was like a game inside of a game. It didn't feel like Black Ops at all. I felt like they wanted to try Remedy's control for a little bit in this big ass mission. And I despised that so much. Then obviously I hated the Jane Hero missions too at the end where she's a demon and it's all crazy. I didn't like that either. I felt that the execution was just much better in Black Ops 3 in terms of mission design, not in explanation or in story. And so that's why I guess it's more acceptable to me in Black Ops 3 than it was in Black Ops 6. However, my main point to this whole freaking video, and I guess I'm steering away from it, is that the reason that I felt so disconnected with Black Ops 3 and the reason that I even went as far as saying that I hated it was because of the performance of the main character, our character player. We never got a name for him, but we'll just call him the player. So our character, the player, his voice acting, and I hate to say this, but I only say this because it's the only way that I can explain myself or you guys can understand what I mean. His performance to me sounded like he was just reading off of script.
You let this thing consume you, destroy everything that you were! How is this helping us? You're not real. None of this is!
It lacked emotion. It lacked great delivery. It was so bland, so stale. It was a really bad performance in a video game. Now, it's hard, I think, being a voice actor because I consider them to be actors as well, especially when they do motion capture. They're actors. They're much more than just voice actors. But the problem is that sometimes when you're acting like this and you're acting in a first-person shooter, you're just hearing the voice a lot. And the voice needs to deliver. It needs to have emotion. And it felt to me so flat from the player player character. His performance was just so bad that it made the whole experience terrible for me. And Jacob Hendricks, for the majority of the campaign, I would say 80% of the campaign, was very annoying, very foolish. He had a lot of outbursts that made almost no sense to me. And his performance, the actor's performance, wasn't all that great 80% of the time. Now, there was 20% towards the end of the game where he started delivering the lines great, like he was packing emotion behind it. He felt good there towards the end. But it was in the between part that the delivery was just not there. This brotherhood that the player and Jacob Hendricks are supposed to have didn't feel all that genuine. And it felt like the game did something in terms of it revealed something to you or something major happened, and the game would like gloss over it. Instead of letting me sit with it for a minute or two to like digest and understand what happened and sit in the shock of like, no way. It like immediately, in the blink of an eye, in the snap of a finger, it moved on to the next thing, and it felt like I couldn't even enjoy or process what just happened. So Black Ops 3 and its pacing felt really off. It felt really off to me. These are the things that made Black Ops 3 not the best campaign in my opinion. It made it less enjoyable. It made it difficult for me to get through. And I commented this to a subscriber the other day. This campaign to me felt like a slog. It wasn't fun to play. I didn't enjoy it. It felt like a lot of the robots and the enemies were just bullet sponges. It felt like a lot of the missions followed the same premise of go down a tower all the way to the basement, kill somebody, hack something, and then you have to run out of the tower because it's being destroyed. That's what all the missions kind of felt like. They felt very similar, repetitive almost. There was no fun factor for me, and maybe it's because I played the campaign so many years after its official release. If I had played the campaign when it came out, maybe my opinions would have been different and I would have liked it and enjoyed it more. But having so many more great, amazing performances since Black Ops 3 released that it's hard for me to compare the player character's performance or Jacob Hendricks' performance to some of the best that I've seen post Black Ops 3 in the campaigns. Now, Christopher Meloni is a great actor. I really, really like him. He's probably one of my favorite actors just personally from TV shows. I saw him a lot in Law & Order SVU, and now I see him a lot in Law & Order Organized Crime. I am a humongous fan of Christopher Meloni and his work in the Law & Order world. I love Detective Stabler, and I'm just a big fan, and I have been since like 2007. So my point is that I was really excited to play this because I was like, it has Christopher Meloni. Of course, I want to be there. I want to see how he does and how he delivers Train Go Boom. That's I wanted to see what all that was about. Overall, I think his performance was good. It started off a little rough in the beginning, but towards the end, you get to hear the real emotion behind the character and everything. And I think overall he delivered. Throughout most of the campaign, I felt that John Taylor was like a weak character, a very forgettable character. And then some things happen, and then you do some research and you do some digging, and you realize that this character of John Taylor is actually really layered. Maybe one of the most layered characters we've gotten in Call of Duty in a really long time. I mean, he is a beast, a juggernaut of a character, and I really, really, really liked him. He's a warrior, man. He sacrifices, and he's a really good character. Honestly, really good character. My opinion changed about him tremendously after finding out more about his story and what really went on in the Black Ops 3 campaign. So to summarize, yes, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was confusing, but that wasn't why I didn't like it. The performances of many of the actors, the pacing of the story, the way the missions were presented to us just really didn't hit home with me. Now, there were some really cool things, however, about the campaign, like weapon customization before you went out. The safe house was really cool, being able to display your trophies or change your gear, change your weapons. I really enjoyed that part. Another thing that I also enjoyed was visually how the game looked. I mean, that crazy mind-bending stuff that is coming in Black Ops 7, I think it's going to take huge inspiration from Black Ops 3 because it reminded me a lot of what I saw in the trailer. I mean, the big trees, the colors. I mean, it was really pretty. I loved some of the maps that had a lot of rain in it or neon lights, the cyberpunk feel to the story and the maps. That stuff was really freaking cool, man. Really cool. At the end of the day, the problem, if you really can condense it to one word, is execution. I think if you would have executed this campaign better, it could have been one of the all-time great campaigns. I really, really think it could have been. You just had to tweak tweak a few things, add some stuff, give the player, us, some more context, I think you could have had something great here, like all-time great. And I'm not exaggerating, because it's not easy coming off of Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. You would want Black Ops 3 to be something really good. And they had the right idea. They just executed it so poorly. Now, what's coming next for Black Ops 3? I'm going to be working over the weekend and over the next few days on a Black Ops 3, the complete story explained. We will go over John Taylor's journal, over some of the comics and the important parts, who Stone was and his team, who John Taylor really was, and who the player character actually is, and what his overall role was in the Black Ops 3 campaign. So be on the lookout for that in the next few days.